Let's give a round of applause to Bodo Hoenen.
Hi, everyone. At the beginning of summer, my daughter got a rare illness. The pressure in her spine was increased by a condition called AFM, and it resulted in her spine and her brain pressure increasing. Within a matter of hours, my daughter turned from being the crazy, fun-loving girl that we always knew to a girl who couldn't breathe, battled to breathe, couldn't stand up, couldn't sit, barely could speak. And this happened in a matter of hours. By the time I got her in the hospital, her left arm was completely paralyzed. She couldn't stand up. She could almost do nothing. She was diagnosed with acute flaccid myelitisis. It's a rare polio-like condition that affected about 100 kids here in the US so far. The prognosis wasn't good. Out of the 100 or so kids, many of them have died, and only a number of them, less than 5%, have had full recovery. That night, I spent time on my phone researching all I could. I got hold of some of the experts and some of the specialists that had treated this condition previously. I also managed to get hold of some of the parents that have kids with the same condition. And their overall feedback and advice was to try and do as much OT and PT physiotherapy as possible. And hopefully that my daughter would be one of those lucky few kids that would get through this. Their primary advice was to hope that my daughter would be one of those that would get through this. But I learned a long time ago that hope is useless unless you take action. And that is when we decided to take this project head on. The advice has been that OT and PT would be the most suitable treatment for this, but there was only a 5% chance that would really help and that would really work in the long term. So we decided to take this challenge head on. We wanted to do something for her. We wanted to make sure that we'd obviously do OT and PT in the meantime, but we wanted to increase the chances of her actually getting a full use of her arm and getting better. So instead of simply doing OT and PT over the next couple of years, we wanted to do something for her now. We decided that we would build a robotic prosthetic arm to help her, primarily with the ability to use the muscle signals from her existing arm and try to use those to control the prosthetic. So by encouraging the use of her arm and encouraging that rehabilitation to take place. So that was our project, and we decided to do that. So while still in the hospital, we set up a Facebook page, we set up a wiki, and we asked people for some guidance and help. Now, it's probably at this time that I should tell you that I have no experience in hardware hacking before this. Much of what I'm about to tell you, I must also confess that I'm not too sure of everything that I'm about to tell you. So if I'm new at this, so disclaimer, I'm new at this. The terminology I may use, it may not be accurate, but I trust everyone here will know what I'm talking about. I am, however, experienced as an entrepreneur. I do tackle some challenging projects, so I do know how at least to kick these things off. So we started off by boiling down the issue. My daughter's arm was paralyzed from the shoulder down to her wrist. She's still able to use her wrist. She's still able to use her fingers. And the likelihood of her regaining the use of her arm is very low. It's about 5% or so. So we needed to figure out, one is we wanted to give her the ability to use her arm again, and 2, we wanted to increase the chances of her actually having a rehabilitated arm. So that was challenge number 1. Challenge number 2 was the weakness of her shoulder. So we spoke to a number of parents that have had this with their kids. Over about a year or 2, the weight of the limb would pull it out of its socket, and so even the weight of the limb was going to stretch the arm, and so we had some challenges there. Now my wife's sewed up a shoulder sleeve, and we use kinesio tape, which is tape that athletes use to keep their muscles secure. And with the shoulder brace that we built and the kinesio tape, my daughter's able to hold about 150 grams worth of additional weight without there being any risk of pulling. So that was the target. Whatever we wanted to build had to be about 150 grams, or no more than 150 grams, which I guess is 5 ounces or thereabouts. Next is her bicep and tricep. The muscles that would predominantly be used when doing this type of motion are completely paralyzed. Now, there was some hope when she was in a zero gravity environment, like when you submerge yourself in the pool. She was able to move her arm about 10 degrees each way unassisted. So we knew that some signals were coming to her arm through her neurons, but there was significant damage. She could do about 10 degrees either way. So we were going to need to try and figure out how to pick up those signals. They were extremely weak, but that was a big challenge. The weight of her forearm was about 400 grams, so whatever mechanism we built needed to be able to pick up that 400 grams continually, at least 400 grams. And we wanted whatever we do to be able to be used over the course of about 5 hours. So she could take it to school, she could go play with her friends. So that was another goal. And again, my daughter's 5 years old, so she's going to be growing up quickly. So whatever we do needs to be able to be designed and continually amended and updated as we go. So that was again, a core requirement of ours is that it's quickly updated. And then if we had any hope that it would be used on a daily basis and that she would want to wear it, it's going to need to be beautiful. Her request was that it was multicolored and it had flowers on it. So we're gonna do that. So now we had all of our requirements and we didn't know where to go, but at least we knew what we needed. And so we recorded a video together where we explained everything that we wanted to do, and we published this on Facebook. Within this video, we seeded the conversation with a prototype, a simplified idea that we had. So we wanted to create 2 arm casts, 2 arm braces to hold the mechanism. We needed to source some type of mechanical actuator or something to pull her arm up and down, be it an actuator or a pulley system or something along those lines. And we wanted to embed the sensors in the upper arm brace. And then we decided to buy some initial equipment to test things out with. We bought the Arduino starter kit and EKG board so we can test out different signals. We also bought some electrodes and some hobby muscle sensors. And we put this in the video telling people that, this is the stuff we have, how can you help us? And within moments, literally within moments, we started to get some feedback and some help. One of the people that have helped us right from the start was Jose from Mexico. We had never met him before, but he's now been helping us all along. Initially, he started helping us wire the Arduino and helped us to program the Arduino to move the actuator. And this was really fun. So those are my 2 kids, and they're helping me now to sort this out. So it was really fun. So this is my daughter, and she's now learning how to do all of this on her own as well with me. From South Africa and Germany, we got help from experts in electrodes and batteries. Then on the West Coast, we got help from a friend. What we needed to do was get a scan of her arm so that we can accurately print out a 3D cast, and we didn't really know how to do that. So a friend of ours helped us with that and donated an Xbox Connect for that. Then from Canada, we got donated actuators from a company called Actuonics. Some folks from Columbia University helped us with the mechanism to pull her arm up and down, making sure that we had sufficient rotation to pull her arm up and down. So that was cool. Again, we didn't exactly know how to do that. And then all around the world, we had help from our friends, help with figuring things out as we go. So that was really cool. We didn't expect all of this help. Over a course of several weeks, we went through multiple iterations of the prototype. My daughter and I built an arm rig first, an external arm rig, to test things out on that first, and we went through a couple of iterations on that. Eventually, we built some things that worked on her arm. This is one of the more successful prototypes we had. So we used something called Fisher technique, which is kind of like Meccano or technical Lego to build out kind of some prototypes, and that worked pretty well. We then figured out how best to do a 3D scan of her, and again, we didn't have any real equipment, proper equipment, but we ended up using the Xbox Kinect, and I needed to make sure that she stays within a certain axis, so I got her to stand on a plate and then lie on the floor and gradually turn the plate to get a scan of her, and that worked pretty well. The next thing was we really wanted to print it out so it fitted her arm perfectly, and we had challenges with that, so we decided to print it out flat using PLA plastic and then put it in boiling water and then mold it around her arm. But I didn't want to burn her, so I made some casts, some upper arm and forearm casts, and we molded around that instead. And that, again, worked pretty well. I actually did that for the first time on Friday. But we had a significant challenge, was trying to get that signal from her arm. The way the muscle sensor works, and you guys must correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they measure the voltage difference between two electrodes you put on your muscle. And so this is a chart of what it looks like when it's looking at my arm. You can obviously see the muscle signal when it's relaxed, when it's active, and when it's relaxed again. And what the muscle sensor then does is it applies a filter, tries to filter out all the noise, it normalizes the filter, and with this we then apply a threshold. And whenever the muscle signal reaches a particular threshold, we would trigger the actuator. So if I pull my muscle, the actuator, it would reach a threshold, the actuator would pull up. And if I release that signal, it would push it back down. I also had an electrode on my tricep, so if I push down, it would actuate and push the arm back down. And this worked really well for me. However, for my daughter, it was a different story. This is what her muscle signal looked like. We could barely pick up that she had any activity when she was really trying to pull her muscle up. So this was a serious issue for us. We had to set the threshold so low that occasionally it would be triggered by her heartbeat or by her finger twitching or by something else. So this was a serious roadblock. We could have solved the problem by maybe putting a muscle sensor on her wrist, because her wrist did work. So she could possibly, twist her wrist up, and we could use that as a signal. Or we could build a potentiometer on the actual sleeve and have her use that. But that would allow her to use her arm, but we really wanted this to be a device that also helped her rehabilitate her arm. So we were really desperate to try and figure out how to get the signal from her muscle. So this was a serious challenge for us. I come from a computing background, and I know a little bit about machine learning, enough to be a little dangerous. And machine learning takes a vast amount of data, and it looks at particular patterns that it could try to recognize. And then you could program that once it recognizes a pattern, it would trigger another event. It could trigger another action. And this is how machine learning works for visual recognition, voice recognition. So my thought was, can't we, instead of using a muscle sensor that filters out the noise and filters out and normalizes the signal, couldn't we use something along the lines of machine learning to look at the full raw signal from her arm and try to work with that? So again, we put out a video asking for help, and after a few days, we got a response. We also found a company called Coapt who are doing something really similar. Putting on 17 electrodes instead of 2, we managed to train a system to recognize that signal, and she was able to control a virtual arm using the signals. So now we're pulling this all together. We're at the stage where we're putting this all together. We're trying to figure things out. And that's where we're at. So we started a few months back, not having any experience in any of this, but we're getting there slowly. Currently, we have a prototype that is 10 times lighter than anything else in the market. It's also 10 times less expensive, and we're using a novel signal recognition detection system. And that's where we're at. But I wanted to bring my daughter here with me today as well, but we couldn't in the last moment, so she wanted to send a video quick. So I just want to show you that.
Lorelei, can you tell us what this is?
It's the cost for my arm.
Okay, let's show everyone how it works. So the actuator can pull your arm up and down. Okay, Levin, why don't you control it? Show everyone how it works. Cool, right?
He loves to get involved. I know I've got 30 seconds left, but I just wanted to show you. So this is her controlling the virtual arm. So we've got 17 electrodes, and it's picking up all the raw data and is trying to figure out what she's trying to do. And so this is a little game that we've got. So now she has to practice by using her existing muscles. And by doing this, she's already gained about, I don't know what it's in terms of, but on a scale from 1 to 5, the physiotherapists gauged the strength of the muscle with the ability to pick it up over gravity. And so when she first got ill, she had 0 out of 5, and she's now progressed to 1 out of 5 on that scale, just by doing things like this. So that's been awesome. How much time do I have left? Okay. Well, this is just one of the prototypes. This is how the one muscle signal works.
When I pull my bicep, it senses the signal and pulls the arm up. And then when
this is making it go up and down.
That's right.
It's like a real human's body.
Yeah, it's like a muscle, right? Yeah, that's the shoulder.
So this is the arm rig that we built to test things out on first.
Cool.
And there's my son getting involved. And she just wanted to make some funny faces, so I decided to put this in there as well. That's it. Thank you, everyone.